Bill O'Reilly here. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Coming up next, the news with Mike Slater.
Thank you, Bill. It is Wednesday, May 24th, 2023. Here's what's happening today in America. DeSantis in the race. Trump in the courtroom. White supremacists attacking the White House. And a man just wants to get back to his castle. Can you blame the man? We'll talk about all that coming up. Then Bill will be here with your message of the day. But first, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, is officially declaring his run for the Republican nomination on Twitter with a conversation with Elon Musk and podcaster David Sachs. He's a big tech entrepreneur. Very interesting move to avoid cable TV entirely. I have said for a long time, imploring the Republican Party to not let people who hate you on cable news have any role in deciding who the Republican nominee should be. That's like letting the Celtics pick the starting lineup for the Miami Heat. Just knock it off with these cable news guys. Meanwhile, Donald Trump was televised, but in a courtroom. It was just him and the judge. This is the New York City trial for this business dealing cover-up, whatever. Apparently, this setup is super rare and usually only used for people who are hospitalized. But the judge decided to do this with Trump on this second courtroom appearance to spare the whole court building the disruption from the Secret Service and the whole rigmarole. The judge decided that the trial will start March 25th, 2024. How about like a speedy trial? What's that about? That's 3 weeks after Super Tuesday. On Monday night, a 19-year-old rented a U-Haul truck and crashed it into the security barrier across from the White House just a couple hours after renting it. Apparently, after the crash, the 19-year-old exited the truck with a Nazi flag and started shouting at Secret Service officers who were approaching him. And because of the Nazi flag on the ground, this was immediately spun as another example of white supremacists taking over America. But then we found out his name was Varshith Kandula. But don't worry, now I'm sure we'll get lectures on how people named Varshith Kandula can also be white supremacists or something. There's a 78-year-old businessman who is in jail in Florida, and he had a plan to escape. The plan was his friends on the outside were going to wait for him to be escorted out of the jail for a doctor's visit at the hospital when they were going to attack the prison guard with pepper spray. And then they were going to run to a nearby private plane to fly to his castle in southern France. Now, before you go rooting for the guy, he is in prison for 49 counts of child pornography. He already fled in France once, and France denied his extradition, but he was arrested when he was vacationing in the Dominican Republic in 2020. He almost got out, but one of the people involved in the plot tipped off the police. Bill O'Reilly with your message of the day. Next.
If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles and have an auto warranty about to expire or have no warranty at all, listen up. Car Shield has a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that's now available to the public. Save on out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. So please call Car Shield now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate the vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing and car rental options at no additional cost. So please call for your free quote, 800-925-7584, 800-925-7584. Hey, what do you have to lose? 800-925-7584. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. On this Wednesday, a very obscure story signals a further move to the left by the Biden administration, if you can believe it is still heading in that direction. A woman named Deborah Lipstadt gets paid by the taxpayers to monitor anti-Semitic accusations and report them to President Biden and his team. Did you know the White House employed such a person? I didn't. Anyway, Ms. Lipstadt is currently defending the notorious George Soros and tweeted that some verbal attacks on him feature, quote, classic anti-Semitic tropes and rhetoric, unquote. Of course, she did not provide examples. Now, I would like some exposure on that because I criticize Soros all the time. He has done, in my opinion, incredible damage to America by promoting open borders and soft on violent crime officials. I believe that. And Soros' religion or lack thereof has nothing to do with my disdain for him. In fact, Soros has harshly criticized Israel. So it seems like President Biden is invested in giving George Soros cover, does it not? Hands off George. He's got protection at the highest level. Joe has his back. Interesting and somewhat frightening. How far left are you going to go, Joe? You are off the charts right now. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. Now let's go to the mail. Barry on the message board, Bill, the multitude of stores leaving San Francisco, although on the surface is terrible, can open up opportunities for enterprising individuals to take their place. How to deal with crime will be one element of their business model. It's impossible. So 90 businesses plus have left San Francisco. Yeah, they're empty storefronts. You probably get a good rent deal down there now. But people are going to break into your store and nothing's going to happen to them. You can't run a business that way. And that's what happened in San Francisco. Brian Galicchio, New Braunfels, Texas, in the Hill Country. Bill, on May 10th, you read a letter in reference to Kate's Law and suggested I contact Senator Cruz, which I did, along with my representative Chip Roy. Perhaps he could be guest. Brian, number one, you're a patriot for doing what you did. Number two, if they reply, please send it to me immediately. Okay? I don't think anything's going to happen, but you're a patriot. Margot Freer, Medford, Oregon. Right on, O'Reilly. Not buying expensive baked goods. I got coffee at a new place at the mall. Second time I went in, they had raised the price $1. Next time they charged me for using a debit card. Did not go back. Secret of capitalism. Robert Lundquist, West St. Paul, Minnesota. You're absolutely right about not buying things that have increased in cost beyond reason. Subway, McDonald's, other restaurants are charging way more than they did a couple of years ago, and I've cut back on eating out. My wife asks, are we having financial issues? And I say, no, I just refuse to pay for things where the value is way less than the cost. Not about the money. That's right. I mean, if I think somebody's stealing from me, not going to do it. Nancy Schatzy, Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. I do overpay for some items. I live in a rural community and believe it's vital to support local business. I know prices are lower at places like Walmart, but I want to help out the locals. Nancy, that's very noble. It's noble. So if you're helping those people, fine. In a moment, something you might not know.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention veterans, active duty military, civilians, and contractors. If you were issued earplugs between 1999 and 2015 and were diagnosed with hearing loss or ringing in the ears, you may be entitled to compensation. The manufacturer of these military earplugs recently paid $9.1 million to resolve claims that their earplugs were defective, potentially exposing service members to damaging sound levels that could have resulted in hearing loss or tinnitus. If you or a loved one were issued earplugs and were diagnosed with tinnitus or hearing loss, don't wait. You fought for this country, and our attorneys want to fight for you. Call 800-687-1936 now for a free legal consultation and to see if you may be eligible to file a claim. Time restrictions may apply, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. So call 800-687-1936 now. Again, 800-687-1936. That's 800-687-1936.
Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. 55 years ago today, the Rolling Stones released the song Jumpin' Jack Flash. The hit single would spend 26 weeks at the top of the charts. Here are some little-known facts about the most economically successful rock band in history, even more so than the Beatles. Stones made more money. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards first met when they were 5 years old. The two attended the same grammar school in England until Jagger moved away in 1950. The duo reunited 10 years later. Mick Jagger attended the prestigious London School of Economics before dropping out to pursue his music career. Before their big break, the Stones were featured in an English commercial. The band recorded a jingle for Rice Krispie cereal called Wake Up in the Morning, There's a Crackle in Your Face. The Stones made £1,000 for recording that ad. Exactly 30 years later, Bill Gates paid the group $5 million to use the song Start Me Up for the release of Microsoft Windows 95. In total, the Rolling Stones have recorded 29 studio albums, 13 live albums, had 8 number one hits, sold 300 million records. The band has come a long way since their American debut. In 1964, the Stones performed at Carnegie Hall in New York City. Price for front row seat, $2.50. And here's something else you might not know. The song Jumpin' Jack Flash, It's a Gas, 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 is actually about Keith Richards Gardner. Said the guitarist in 2010, quote, "The lyrics came from a gray dawn in England. Mick and I had been up all night, it was raining outside, and there was a sound of these boots near the window. It woke Mick up. He said, 'What's that?' I said, 'Oh, that's my gardener, Jack. We call him Jumpin' Jack.' The rest, as the cliche goes, is music history." Rolling Stones still rolling along, even though Charlie Watts, the drummer, has passed away. Back after this.
Ad paid for by Abadian and Totalian. COVID-19 was tough on businesses. If you experienced a negative impact to your business during the pandemic and have at least 5 W-2 employees, then you need to pay attention. There are some new powerful incentives that have been created specifically for businesses impacted by COVID-19. One such program is the Employee Retention Credit. Its tax incentive could bring you some serious cash back to your business. Even if you received a PPP loan in 2020 or 2021, you were still permitted to receive this credit. There are many ways to be eligible, and taking advantage of this tax credit doesn't need to be complicated. We made it easy for you by doing the legwork to maximize the amount of your refund due. Call us today at 800-862-0585 and we'll set your business up to take full advantage of the Employee Retention Tax Credit. That's 800-862-0585. Again, 800-862-0585. We'll get the ball rolling on getting you and your business some much-needed relief, but time is limited to file a claim. So call 800-862-0585.
Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.